Welcome to the beginning of your lean business journey. My name is Kay Woodard, and I am a Lean Six Sigma Sensei, and my focus is on helping you to make your business lean, profitable, and sustainable by teaching you how to lower your cost and be more productive using common sense tools. Your business is a collection of systems, and your business is only going to be as effective as its systems and associated processes. Creating effective systems starts with creating effective standards and eliminating unnecessary movement, defects, rework, waiting, and other waste in our business processes. This is an introduction to 5S and creating effective and efficient workplaces through visual controls so we can minimize waste in a business process. You want to minimize the waste in your business processes, and effective standards with visual controls help you to do that. Here's an example. When you go to the supermarket, you drive into the parking lot and there's lines to show you exactly where and in what orientation to put your car. That's a standard. Inside, the aisles are clearly marked with hanging signs to show you the location of products. That's another standard. There's a standard express checkout counter for 10 items or less. Bottom line, you do it the same way every time. Now just suppose they were too busy making the numbers one day and they just didn't have time to follow their own standards. And the workers just put the milk on the bread shelf and put the chicken where the potatoes usually are. What kind of confusion would that cause? You'd be lost. All the other customers would be lost also. And the checkout girl wouldn't be at the checkout because she'd be helping another customer looking for the bread. Long lines, chaos, confusion, right? It would take you twice as long. And what about the quality of the food? Would you come back to this store to shop? That's why we have to have effective standards in the workplace to minimize waste. And effective standards with visual controls can do that. In an environment without effective standards, too many things are left undefined and are subject to interpretation. And there's lots of effort and time spent figuring out and speculating. I think I remember he said to cut the blue wire, and there's lots of room for infinite variation. So think about your workspace, your workstation, your side of the building. Are the standards effective? Does everything have a place, and is it always in its place? Do you ever have to look for something, hunt or fetch something? Is it always 100% clear what you need to do next, or do you sometimes have to ask someone? And does work sometimes fall through the cracks? A lot of times, as we work in a process daily, we are unable to recognize the chaos that has become a normal part of the process. And that chaos is often the reason why we don't have time to fix the process. So we hear a lot of business leaders' concerns. However, most of them just don't have the time to work on fixing their problems. But that same waste is hitting their bottom line day after day. Now, that wasted time is invisible, it's untraceable, it's gone forever, and it's likely to be repeated again tomorrow. The question is, how much of that wasted time can you get back? Now, when we talk about effective standards, an effective standard is going to be easy to use, simple and concise, and very visual. And one of the most effective standards we have available today is the visual workplace. Wouldn't you love to be able to walk in your process and immediately know the status of the work without asking someone? Wouldn't you love to know how many widgets are waiting, how many have been done, and how many are ready for shipment? Would you need to know the minute you're falling behind demand so you can add resources at the drop of a hat? And wouldn't you just love to know the exact amount of all your inventory at any given time at a glance and get rid of that evil once a year inventory? Well, you can have all these business luxuries and so much more in a lean system because a picture is worth at least $1,000 a day in a visual factory. In a visual workplace, it's so much more productive because the workers can easily see how the work is done with minimal training. It's easy to understand what is to be done next with minimal supervision, and abnormalities and errors stick out. You can also save time and money as leaders, planners, supervisors, shippers, whoever can easily walk in and immediately know the status of the work. Now, one way to create an effective standard is with the 5S visual system, because in a 5S system, everything has a place and everything should be in its place. This makes it easier to detect and correct waste. It's also a way to optimize the workplace because it's easier to learn multiple jobs and it creates better worker flexibility. A small business has to have flexibility, and 5S makes this possible. So, what happens when you finally land the big one? That one big contract that's really going to put you on the map. Say this big one will increase your business by 50% or more. You're ramping up, buying equipment, spending money, adding space, and hiring people to fill it. But you just haven't had time to properly train your new staff or to write down how things are to get done or determine who's responsible for what. And as a result, quality goes down, things slip through the cracks, and your new customer just cannot abide your mistakes, and you lose that contract. Now, with all you've spent, does this big one put you on the map or does it put you out of business? That's the question of sustainability. Can you sustain your business through growing and shrinking cycles? That's what we're here to talk about today, creating and perfecting those scalable business systems that support your ability to get the job done well. Now, if you were a customer walking into this consultant's office, what would you think? Would you feel confident that he has everything under control? Would you wonder where your stuff could be? In this stack or that stack, on the top, on the bottom? You want to use 5S to turn a dirty, cluttered, disorganized workspace into a competitive weapon and tell your customers who you are and what you're about. And the 5S steps start with sort. We sort and identify all the workplace items in a visual fashion by using colored tags. Things not needed get a red tag. Things that are needed get a green tag. And things that are questionable get a yellow tag. Just think, if I touch it every day, then let's leave it right here on the workbench. And if I touch it, say, weekly, then we'll need to keep it nearby. This is going to help us consider alternate methods of storage. Once we've sorted all our items, then we straighten them in the second 5S step. The straighten process is where we provide a place for everything and make sure that it's in its place. We want to put the working tools where they are needed within a hand's reach of the work. And we set a standard for an optimized workplace this way, and it makes it easier for other workers to help when this volume goes up. The third step in the process is to shine. This is where the culture change is really kicking in because the operators understand that during downtimes is an opportunity to clean and inspect their equipment to make it safer and more efficient. The fourth S is to standardize. And this is what makes the first three S's a habit. It's where you create standard checklists to make sure that everything that needs to be done gets done and that everything is in its place in the work cell. The fifth S is sustain. And training and retraining is going to provide the discipline necessary to sustain the 5S momentum, as well as before and after pictures. These will help us to visualize what good looks like. So, how much does it cost to implement a 5S system in the workplace? Well, to have a clean, bright, well organized workplace, maybe a few dollars a day. To have employee prizes or incentives, maybe $10 each. To implement employee ideas, possibly a couple $100 each. But to have a balanced, effective, profitable business, that's priceless. So 5S is way more than a fancy housekeeping system. It's a tool or system that supports a disciplined, efficient operating philosophy. 5S is about attention to detail wrapped in culture change. And when you eliminate the things that are not needed, you make more room, more widgets, and more sustainable jobs for more Americans. Thank you for your time.